And some breaking news just coming in. We're given to understand that the youth wing of the Congress party has in fact launched a massive agitation. Those are live visuals that we're getting to you from the national capital, where members of the Congress youth wing have launched a massive agitation against the land acquisition ordinance. Are live images that we're getting to you from the national capital. The youth congress there protesting against the land acquisition ordinance. Remember, the Congress party has launched a massive protest at the Rajghat. The protest in fact began from Bhata Parsaul, and the protesters threatened to move towards Parliament now. And protesters there on the ground claim that Rahul Gandhi is there in spirit. Remember, the last time this agitation from Bhata Parsaul was in fact led by none other than the Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi. He is of course absent, but the youth wing of the Congress there launching a massive agitation. They've been marching from Bhata Parsaul. They have reached Rajghat this morning, and they threaten to move towards Parliament. The Congress party, they're launching an attack on the government on multiple fronts. There is a tough battle that the Congress party is in fact fighting on the land bill. That battle of course being fought on the ground. As you can see, a large number of protesters of the youth wing of the Congress party have taken to the streets protesting against the land bill. And as we speak, we're also given to understand that the Congress party has in fact staged a walkout in the Rajya Sabha over the snooping row. So clearly massive agitation that is being launched by the Congress on multiple fronts. All right, those are live visuals that we're getting to you on your screens from the national capital. My colleague Smita Sharma is at ground zero. Smita, it's a huge agitation that the youth wing of the Congress party has launched. It started in Bhata Parsaul. They did congregate at Rajghat this morning, and they threatened to move towards Parliament. It's clearly a fight that the Congress plans to fight in Parliament and on the streets against the land acquisition ordinance.
Absolutely, Rishika, and if I can just inform you that the march has really begun. These are youth activists, Congress youth activists, as well as various activists from the Pradesh Congress committees from Karnataka, Kerala, Himachal. They were all, in fact, they had met at Rajghat this morning, and just 5-7 minutes back, in fact, they started their march towards the Jantar Mantar. They will be passing the Youth Congress office on the way. From Jantar Mantar, they of course have plans of cornering the Parliament in a way which is called the Sansad Ghirao program. But remember, the section 144, which is imposed in and around Parliament, especially when Parliament is in session. So in these huge numbers, they will not be allowed to march in. Perhaps we might see them take to some sort of a guerrilla tactic, trying to get into Parliament area in smaller numbers. There are Congress leaders like Oscar Fernandez, Jairam Ramesh, Sachin Pilot, Raj Babbar, who have also joined this march. And in a way, it is also the Congress's own fight to stay relevant, really, at a time when it has been reduced in terms of numbers. But this is the one issue where the Congress thinks that the opposition will stay a united house, especially in Rajya Sabha, where numbers remain that tricky question for the BJP government. And
all right, Smita Sharma is of course tracking developments on ground zero, and as Smita has been pointing out, there are some Congress heavyweights, Jairam Ramesh, Sachin Pilot, Raj Babbar, all of those senior leaders of the Congress party in fact present at this march. This is of course a tactic of the Congress party to mount pressure on the government against the land acquisition ordinance. Remember, the Congress party along with other opposition parties had made a very concerted, coordinated effort to corner the government, especially in the Rajya Sabha, where the government is in fact lacking the numbers. So this is a tactic by the Congress party to in fact launch an agitation against the government, not just on the floor of the Parliament, but also on the streets. This is a march that started in Bhata Parsaul. The march congregated at Rajghat this morning, and as you can see on your screens, Congress youth wing members led by some of the senior party leaders of the Congress party, they're marching from Rajghat all the way to Parliament. It remains to be seen exactly how this protest march culminates, given the fact that there is section 144 that is in fact imposed in and around the Parliament area, especially when Parliament is in session. So of course these protesters are not going to be allowed to make their way to Parliament. It remains to be seen how exactly this protest culminates, whether there will be violent scenes or whether they will peacefully stand in protest. Senior Congress leaders on your screens there who are a part of this protest: Jairam Ramesh, Raj Babbar, Sachin Pilot, all of those senior leaders leading the Congress youth wing in that march to fight against the land acquisition ordinance. And last time around, the Congress had in fact gathered its force for farmer rights and for the land acquisition was of course an agitation that was led by Rahul Gandhi, and this time around Rahul Gandhi there once again conspicuous by his absence.